Now, my special guest this morning, ladies and gentlemen, Duran Duran's Andy Taylor. Welcome to the show. Welcome. Andy was the musical driving force behind Princess Di's favourite band, helping Simon Le Bon and the gang sell more than 100 million records. That's thanks to hits like Rio, Girls on Film. Even more extraordinary were events behind the scenes, which you can now read in this, Andy's revealing autobiography, Wild Boy. Great title. You've had a very rock and roll life, that's for sure. At what point did you think about telling it all?
Well, I departed for the second time in 2006, and I'm sort of touching the hem of 50 now, and you have to change lifestyle. Otherwise, it can be fairly...
But not hairstyle. Lifestyle, but not hairstyle.
If you've still got hair,
yeah, flaunt it.
If you've got hair, flaunt it. If you go to LA, they plug it back in.
Now, there are, I mean, so many great stories in the book, but I think one which maybe captures the height of the sort of rock and roll excess is you standing next to a Coke machine, waiting for drugs to come out of it.
What said Coke on it? I know, someone found that story. I'd managed to bury that in the memory bank of never coming back, but...
Well, that's what I wondered.
It was in a recording studio. There's lots of famous stories about recording studios that I can recall. There's great ones about most bands, but the funniest one is the one about Keith Richards. And one morning, apparently, the young engineer goes into the studio after a session, 8 a.m., and he opens up a cupboard, and Keith Richards falls out. Now, I've been in a lot of cupboards, but I always went home to bed. So,
if only Boris Becker could say the same. Now, I mean, did you have problems remembering everything out of interest? I mean, because you cleaned up your act, but...
well, funnily, I mean, many years ago, I kind of, got to grips with the fact that, you can't take that kind of abuse and pace. But, no, a lot of the stuff, really, I looked at everything and went through Gary, journalist and friend of mine, who helped me write it. And we went through, recounted everything from memory, and then looked what was in the public domain. And everything, literally, God bless...
Because of the gossip columnists.
The British press, God bless them. They may, fly close to the... but they get it all. And everything, right back from 1980 for 20-odd years was there. Of course, some of it's inaccurate, and you need to, kind of put it right. So, my memory was pretty good, but the British press, and on the internet now, there's incredible amount of chronological information and stuff. So, yeah, the grey bits aren't too grey.
Hugely expensive video at the time. I can remember when it came out, they were talking about it being the most expensive video today.
It was probably the most expensive a British artist ever made. It was about £1 million then. And I remember going to the shoot. When you make videos, there's a lot of hurry up and wait, and you sit around all day and that. And we were sitting around with our accountant, and I'm going, go on, just give us a clue. How much are we wasting? And the bill goes up and up. And if you go over midnight, you have extra thing. And literally, they had to blow the setup at the end for some of the shots, and it was like 5 to midnight, and they had to, and the whole thing, and crazy.
As a youngster watching it, I just kept hoping the snake was going to bite Simon Le Bon's head off. I'm sorry, it's just the way it was. I was in love with a girl called Tanya Viskovich, and she wasn't in love with me.
I'm sure he's had a few snakes bite his head off.
Oh, it seems so unfair. So unfair. Listen, great to have you with us. Really is. Because you live in Ibiza, don't you?
Yeah, I have
do you keep
Mediterranean diet.
Yeah, keep up to speed with things over here?
Yeah, well, you have a Sky TV, and that's about, and you can get the BBC and all the channels. They go in and out.
Yeah.
Usually it goes out when the football comes on. At night time, you're halfway through an England game, and
but you get the sunshine.
But yeah, we get the sunshine, but we don't get the sun.
Oh. Let's tell you about today's show, folks. Kicks off with the headlines. Andy will take us through those. First, though, it's the news, or the newspapers. What have you got for us, Andy?
Well, this morning, when the alarm went at 5:30, this
story... Not very rock and roll, is it? 5:30 getting up these days.
I didn't say I was asleep. The alarm went. And this story came on, and I live on a holiday island in Ibiza, so I'm used to, seeing all these different aircrafts and trying to get a cheap flight. And this company's gone bust, XL. Third biggest charter holiday company in the country, millions of people affected. And until midnight last night, these monkeys were taking money off people. They were still taking bookings. Now, and I watched the news report, and somebody said, well, probably they weren't trading insolvently, which of course is not allowed. Yeah. But they were still taking bookings until midnight, and none of the passengers. So the cynical side of it is, all of the other airlines who have got flights to destinations like Tenerife have put their prices up today to like £900 for half a ticket.
So they can get all the money from the XL.
So not only can people not get back, but people who want to go out and replace the tickets are going to have to pay, like a couple of grand for a family to go.
And something else I heard, which I didn't realise before, and I don't know if this is across the board, but certainly the case with XL, if you buy the tickets from their website, you're not covered by the travel deal.
No, you're not. And they had a guy from ABTA explaining this very badly, I may add, and why they didn't blow...
this guy, he's good, isn't he?
Why they didn't blow the whistle on the company. Right, but a couple of weeks ago I was reading something in some boring financial thing and said that there's only 5 airlines in Europe will survive if oil goes to $170 a barrel. And so, there's going to be more...
The price has been dropping on this guy, aren't it? The oil price has dropped now, hasn't it?
Yeah. The advice appears to be buy any tickets on your credit card. Although you pay the 2% extra, they often charge you that. It does mean if any more of these airlines are going down, you get your money back.
OK, and it's a nice follow-on, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the related story is Zola gets the West Ham job. You've got a Geordie talking about West Ham. So
we've got an Italian manager.
But they have XL on their shirt.
That augurs well, then, doesn't it?
Well, it's the curse of the football shirt because...
down.
No, Northern Rock and Newcastle.
That's right, yeah.
Keegan, 8 months. Zola, XL.
8 minutes so far.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So they're saying, well, will they get a new sponsor? Probably not, because they're tied in, and they've probably had the money anyway. But it's not really a good start for him. I don't think.
Irony of ironies. What else have we got?
Well, the channel went up, and it says that there was an explosion deep in the tunnel, and there was another lorry near it carrying something even more flammable, which would have, been disastrous.
Last time there was a fire, it was a lorry as well in this the sort of goods tunnel.
Explosions in tunnels, the world we live in. I mean,
scary stuff, isn't it?
It just shows you.
This was exactly the day yesterday we were talking about 2 hours to Paris, if you remember. It seems, sort of slightly tempting fate. They were trumpeting the fact, oh, you're going to be able to get to Paris in 2 hours, marvellous, marvellous, and then there's no trains at all today. Yeah.
Well, I mean, your worst nightmare journey would be XL from Glasgow, and then to pick up this today.
You're a star. They do something on the M20 down there, the M20, and they do something. It's called stacking when there's a problem at the channel. And I've actually been caught at the front of a stack, and they basically just shut the motorway. Right. And I was on it at the front of the queue, which they then, eventually, after about 4 hours, they then exit it from behind. You all turn around and go out. So from being in the front of the queue, yards from getting on the Channel Tunnel, I ended up miles and miles behind.
Do you know what's really annoying about that? As soon as the tunnel's closed, they say it's not going to be open today, and yet they take 4 hours to turn the traffic around.
Even worse than that, when you come out the other side of the tunnel, you're in France.
Oh. It gets worse and worse.
Miserable holiday that was. Right, one more from you.
Let's not go there. The Red Arrows crashed, but they didn't crash while they were actually doing a manoeuvre. The plane came down. It was the same day the Spanair plane crashed, except we never heard about it. And it's the undercarriage has given way, and the plane's crashed. And it's crashed into a load of cars and by the building. And to me, it was just sort of, how do you make the insurance claim? Third-party fire theft and Red Arrow damage. I mean, sorry, I was standing nearby when a plane hit me on the ground, and I just wonder what the assessors are going to do. Do they get? Are the Red Arrows insured? And the pilots ejected, as well. So they're coming down. It went, and the pilots eject, so they get out of okay. But it just so.
Can you imagine the insurers say, "So we can't pay for your car because the Red Arrow had right of way."
Yeah. And the other thing is that young Theo Walcott's everywhere. Yeah. And God bless him.
Yeah. And come to say, what a beautiful girlfriend he has as well.
Really?
I just noticed. He seems very attractive.
He's a footballer.
Yeah, so quite a good one.
We've got our gig now.
Yeah. Larry, what have you got, please?
Yes, there's a review backing the idea of yellow school buses. As in the States, in America, they have yellow school buses that take kids to school. What they're saying is they should introduce them here. And David Blunkett, the former Education Secretary, thinks it would revolutionise the school run. 6,600 kids have tried it as an experiment, and they have CCTV
trying to get 1 in 5
on there.
trying to stop 1 in 5 kids going by car.
They think it would actually cut down mums and fathers doing the
Funny, isn't
school
it?
run
When you
in
see a
cars
yellow
by
bus in
20%.
Britain, it doesn't look quite as cool as a yellow bus in the
This is
States.
all crazy. We used to have to go and get the bus, threepence, 4 stops,
Yeah, hang on a
everyone
sec.
at the bus stop.
It's true, but I was in Birmingham this week, and
I was in Newcastle
Okay,
when I grew
and
up.
there was a, I went past a school, and the school run was unbelievable. Double, triple park cars. I was really surprised. And the problem is that a lot of places there is not the public transport there anymore to get.
Well, do you know? Sorry, can I say? In a lot of places where there is the public transport. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It says here that 41% of primary school pupils in the whole country take their.
Okay, we've got to move on. We've got to move on because after the ads.